Thanks for joining the vlog. This week we're going to talk about how leadership is not waiting to follow others, but being thoughtful, proactive, humble, and courageous. And I'd like to start by just breathing. I mean that quite literally. I'd like for you to take a diaphragmatic breath deep into the lower lobes of your lungs, and then continuing with a combination breath and filling up the upper lobes. And then let's exhale out and be thankful that we can do that. Let's take time in the course of all of our days to breathe. This has been the most challenging week of my professional career, and it was nothing for me compared to the challenges I've watched people around me go through. Oh my goodness, including the challenges faced by leaders. And some of those leaders are just so extraordinary. I have been inspired by leaders at all levels of organizations taking charge of what's needed in crisis, doing the right things by way of people. It has been amazing. And I'm sure you'll see stories of people who aren't out leading. That's not where I live or go. Here's what I saw people doing as I was part of so many COVID-19 task forces over the course of the week. One brand I'll talk about, I've spent on average 3 conference calls a day with. Just constantly being in communication, strategizing, taking care of the here and now, thinking 2 steps ahead. People got together, they assembled the best people possible, and yes, most of the time we did that virtually. In all brands that I'm involved with, I'm doing it virtually. We asked lots of questions. Those leaders sought out the best available facts and were humble to go to anyone to get that kind of input. They anticipated a wide swath of scenarios. They anguished because they didn't always have a good choice. So they had to choose the better of 2 choices. And they acted with humility and courage in alignment with their values, what they claim to be about. They had to manage a lot of differing opinions, a lot of pushback, a lot of self-interest, some tension. But through it all, most of the people I worked with this week were changing service delivery platforms at a speed none of us could have imagined some 3 weeks ago. So let me tell you about one of those brands that has just been amazing. And this is Sonny's Barbecue. You can find them at sonnysbarbecue.com. I'm going to encourage you to purchase from them if you're buying food and takeout or delivery wherever you are, and if they're in your region in the southern states. Sonny's has about 100 restaurants in 9 states in the South. They are led by Jamie Yarmouth and Bob Yarmouth, a son-dad team, very aligned with values of spreading the spirit of barbecue and doing great things within their community, practicing random acts of barbecue and cueing kindness. It's all part of the culture. And this week, early in the week, before governors were closing down the dine-in portion of restaurants, Sonny's, which has takeout and delivery and drive-throughs, they also have dine-in, and they made a recommendation along with the Franchisee Council led by Eddie Titan. They took it on themselves to recommend to the rest of the franchisees to be proactive and to close down the dining room section and optimize the other aspects of their restaurant before any local authorities were saying that was necessary. And then lo and behold, a couple of days later, state after state, that was the action taken. My point being, when it was hard, when people had to take gut checks, when they had to balance all these complicated health, financial, employability issues for their people, these folks had to make a tough decision and led with their values. It's amazing what I'm seeing happening out there each and every day. Now, I want to contrast that to a couple of other brands. Now, my mama told me not to say something, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all kind of thing. So in the case of 2 brands, I will not mention their names, but you could probably figure it out if you do much news work. There was a brand in the gaming industry, the gambling industry, if you will, that needed literally to have complaints filed by employees and outsiders to say, why aren't you following the health standards that are required? There was a company that sells video games and video game machines across the country that was operating as an essential business in places where there were full lockdowns. My hunch, and this is the deep thought I'd really like to leave you with, is if you are not acting boldly and looking out for others now, I wonder if team members and customers are going to take an interest in you when the pandemic clears. I wish you great things this week. I hope you'll lead the change you want to see in the world now. That's a paraphrase on a quote that's often ascribed to Gandhi. Lead the change you want to see in the world now, And if you happen to see people who are doing that, why don't you share your story on surprisinglykind.com. Blessings to each and every one of you. Thank you for your time and attention. Check back again next week.